It is episode 10 of Science Chronicles live on Science Journalism Ghana. I am Jessica Ahedo. In today's episode, we are delving into how we're going to utilize the areas of astronomy and space science in developing our nation, Ghana. And to help me do justice to this interesting topic, I have here with me the director of Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute, Dr. Joseph Tandoh, who helped me do this. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice meeting you finally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to appreciate when we are talking about astronomy and space science, what really are we talking about?
Okay, so I would say space science is a broad umbrella. Then we have astronomy being an aspect of this whole space science thing. So when you come to Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute, as we speak, we have the remote sensing department and the astronomy and astrophysics department. And all these two areas, they are using space science technology. Just that one is down and observing the universe from Earth, and one also is observing Earth from space.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so which one is Earth to space and which one
so
is
from
space
the Earth to space is staying here and observing the constellation, observing space from Earth. So using your radio telescope or your telescopes to observe the universe around us. Okay. That is the astronomy. And the remote sensing is when you have satellites up there having a bird's eye view of the whole Earth and studying how things are, like the formation of things and the change of land cover. So the remote sensing is you're using satellites to view the Earth, and astronomy from the Earth, we are looking into the sky.
To the app. Okay. So how does this benefit us as humans?
Okay. So I'll pick it up from the technology itself.
Okay.
For astronomy, when you look at all the advancements in technology that we have, like in terms of communication, in terms of the mobile phones, and in terms of face recognitions that we use for our phones, all these techs came from astronomy, studying astronomy, because if you are able to communicate with objects that are millions of miles away from you, then definitely it's easy to communicate with objects here, and also to identify them and characterize them by their patterns. Then it's easy to do the same. And when you also look at the remote sensing, what we have satellites up there that is studying how our Earth is evolving. So especially in terms of land cover, land change, disaster monitoring, security, even agriculture, smart agriculture, to know the yield of your crops, if you plant crops, how they are doing, pest infestation. Because up there you have a clear view of what you are monitoring. And also with adequate sensors that are fixed on your satellite, you can now monitor specific things, especially when you take agriculture. You can measure how green your crop is, how bad your crop is doing, measure how moist your soil is, that is how fertile your ground will be for planting. And also looking at disaster monitoring, the topology of your area, where it's prone to flooding, all these things can be mapped using remote sensing techniques. And even our shorelines, how we are losing our shorelines to sea erosion. And you can have access to past data, so maybe 60 years of satellite images on your coast, and you can be able to write algorithms to predict how much of the shorelines we are losing to sea erosion. And I think the current studies that are done by our remote sensing department revealed that we are losing almost 2 meters every year, which is very alarming.
That's huge.
That's huge. It's huge. And all these findings are found from gotten from space technology, because currently policies in the world are being made from data, evidence-based.
Yeah.
And all the data that you need to provide these policies or to contribute to the effectiveness of these policies are from space science technology.
Currently, let's zero in down to our country now.
Okay.
So we want to find out where, if you can paint a picture of an overview of what space science is like in terms of its contribution to
Okay.
Ghana's development.
Okay.
Yeah, how we are able to utilize.
Space science.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start with, I would say Ghana, we have come far in terms of the space science technology. And I think the main milestone was achieved when we signed the SK Partnership Agreement in 2007, where through that this institute was formed.
Okay.
And also an old abandoned telescope, communication dish at the observatory Kuntunse was converted into a radio telescope, which we are now using to observe masers and pulsars, right, in the universe. So when that milestone was achieved, it sets the pace for the country to embrace the space science technology. And I think in 2012, when this institute was formed, I think it was the same year, All Nations University also launched its Ghana Sat 1. And the observatory also was launched by the president in 2017. All these are milestones that we see. These are points that brought the whole world, the attention of the whole world to Ghana in terms of space technology. And the Kuntunse Observatory, it's a radio telescope that we use to observe the universe, stars. We used to observe masers and pulsars. When I say maser, it's just like I would liken it to, let's say, a radio station in space that is broadcasting not songs, but it's broadcasting, let's say, radio waves that are coming from specific objects. So if you take like the methanol masers, these are coming from the methanol that it's in, so it comes from the formation of stars. So new stars are being formed. You can detect all these from your radio telescopes, and also for pulses. Also, you can also detect pulses. It can be from dying stars, and you can be able to detect their ages. And I feel it contributes into our STEM education. Because once a country embraces astronomy, what it does is push your mathematics, your engineering, your science, pushes the limit of the whole youth for them to learn, because that is the cutting edge of science. Yeah. And when you also look at the remote sensing part, for the remote sensing part also, lots of institutes in Ghana, and I would say lots of agencies or scientists are using remote sensing. But the question is, what is the objective? So in 2020, that was last year, March, the Ghana space policy was approved by the cabinet by Ghana Parliament. So it was approved. And what does it want to achieve? The space policy is to coordinate all space-related activities in the country to address our national issues. So you ask yourself, what are the main issues in this country right now?
Okay, so I'll be coming to the initiative that Ghana has taken to promote astronomy and space science so far, because from 2017 to now, it's quite some time.
Yeah. So I think I'll answer that one by, I'll say we started with astronomy clubs.
Okay.
So
in schools. That's a university to be precise, or
we started from the
senior
basic
high
level.
school.
It was from the junior to the senior high schools, and we have the university students also.
Okay.
So we started this program that is development in Africa through radio astronomy. That's a DARA. Okay. So we trained university students, there were master students. It was a 3 months to 6 months training program where people are taken through the basics science in astronomy, and also to have hands-on training on astronomy, so to build telescopes, and also to let them have the feel of how to become an astronaut, how it looks like. So after this training, also these clubs were formed. So we have a PARSAC. Yeah. So what the main aim of PARSAC is to train or to let astronomy seamlessly be felt among all the kids. So from the junior high school, so we visit schools, we visit the secondary schools, we have mentorship programs for them. where they can visit the observatory. They have astronauts, like astronomers, who they share their contacts with, so they can come to the observatory, have chit chats with them. Also, like mentorship programs, and just like what we are about to organize, the Space Jam. Some of these programs, when you come there, you are like it's open, so you're exposed to what really happens. Because that one, you have practical observation, some things that we've observed already using the telescopes, and the practical use of remote sensing and how it applies to our economy or in our social developments. So it's mainly education for now, because currently the workforce we have is not that much. So that is why when you look in the space policy, the implementation strategy, aside the formation of the space agency, the second most important thing is to develop the human resources. Because you need the human resources. And where do you start from? You start from the young ones. Because if an agency is supposed to be formed, which definitely are going to be formed probably by the end of this year, we will need these workforce, because when it's formed, it's formed. And that is, the door is open for lots of activities. That's why we're thinking about this missions, satellite building, ground station building, and need these human resources.
Okay, so on that basis, I would like to talk about our next question, which borders on how to increase awareness of what we are doing currently in Ghana, how to tell our own story. Because if we refuse to tell our own story, somebody else will tell it for us and may not be accurate in saying it or telling those stories. So what have been some of the initiatives that the Institute has put in place in order to create some level of awareness among the public about what you're doing here?
Okay, so I'll start by on 6th of October, we are organizing the Space Jam. And the Space Jam, the idea is learn with fun. So it's entertainment, but you're learning, where school kids will come around. You have fun games, astronomy, gauge the distance between, like when you have the sun and here. So it's just like learn with fun, and that is what we started with the clubs. And also, I believe currently we've put up we have a media team that we are putting out the activities that we're doing that is directly linked with development. So currently we're working with the most of these agri developments, like the small scale farmers and even the large scale farmers. So what we do is we now want them to incorporate remote sensing in their activities. So using satellite data to inform them the rainfall patterns, also when they are planting, to calculate the crop yield assessment. We do crop yield assessment for them, and so that now agriculture won't be the normal go to farm, just plant 3 few months, but now you're going to use, it's going to be like database to do those ones. And also in terms of natural resource management, also we also doing monitoring of how much of the forest land that we've lost. So what I'm saying is all these results that we have from all these studies that we're doing, we're putting them down and we are addressing it, we are relating it to our needs.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So we put it through publications, we visit the MMDs, we tell them this is what is happening.
There's the reality on the ground.
There's a reality because the last work we did, we realized that between 2007 to 2022, we lost almost 60,000 hectares of our forest lands to mining. So these are facts.
Another intriguing area that we wouldn't want to delve into right now. So, yes, we're still watching Science Chronicles on Science Journalism Ghana. And I'm Jessica Hedo. I'm here with Dr. Joseph Tandoh, who is the Director for Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute. We are moving forward with our conversation, Doc. So we want to deal with item 7. I want to talk about discussing the recent advancement in the area of astronomy and also space science. Is there any discoveries related to space science that Ghanaian scientists are involved in?
Okay, so I'll start with currently, we are, um, I would say we will call ourselves babies in terms of astronomy now, but because we have an observatory, I told you the radio observatory that we have, the main idea is for us to be part of the SK project, that's a square kilometer array, where some African countries, South Africa and Australia,
Yeah.
we come to build the world's largest telescope. So currently, we are done with the mechanical phase of the telescope.
Okay.
So currently, the telescope is not fully ready for the VLBI. That's a very long ways interferometry, where we can link our telescope to other telescopes in the world,
Part of the world.
to observe. And currently, as I speak to you, I think yesterday we took inventory of a maser that because you need a maser, that's
Okay.
atomic clock, to be able to do the VLBI.
Okay.
So as we speak, the experts are in Tuntunse trying to install the maser. So the science operational phase is not fully completed to do the VLBI. But as a test case, we've been observing masers, as I said, and pulses. So we've been observing it in some regions of space that our telescope also meets the same standard as other single dish telescopes.
Okay.
But the science phase of the project will begin next year when we have our maser fully installed. Then we will partake with other international observatories to observe do full scale science observation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how long it takes to put all this together. Like, if you could quantify the workforce that goes into it
It's a lot.
and the challenges that come with
Actually, this whole thing started. It's been long. It's been very long, and when COVID came, also the whole project was put on
Yeah.
hold. And I would say our SK partners, they've been very good. And as I speak, we have almost about 7 of them at Kuntunse currently working, because the maser is, is very sensitive to temperature and vibration. So the room had to be prepared for it, because a temperature variation of just about 2 degrees will cause the whole thing to be restarted. So a lot of work is going into it now, and once it's done, then we can start the real science operation, where Ghana also will be part of the other big unit to do observations.
Okay. So, okay. So we want to find out if there are any upcoming projects, especially when it comes to space has science mission for you.
Yeah, space. We have it in our roadmap. We
Okay.
have a 5 year roadmap, which is in our policy.
Isn't it too short?
No, it's
5 years. Looking at what goes
no,
in.
yeah, we do it. It's okay. The first implementation strategy of the policy is to launch the space agency.
Okay.
So when the space agency is launched, then we look at the human resource development. Then we look at infrastructure.
Okay.
So we have a long term plan, but we have it in bits.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a long term plan where Ghana will have its own satellites in space, will have its own control and monitoring center. Ghana will have a spaceport where we create the avenue for other people to come and launch. Yeah, and it's possible because where we are located on the
Okay. So do
equator.
we
Yes,
have the resources in terms of land cover?
for the land we have. For the land we have the resources for the land. So it just left with the policy to be like the implementation of the policy. But the policy has already been approved.
Okay.
Cabinet has already approved the policy, the formation of the agency, the human resource development, the infrastructure, and the finance is also stated as a financial plan for the policy. But the policy hasn't been launched, so I won't go into details here.
You only
Yes,
want to go into details. Just give me a brief of it.
I wouldn't. but,
A
but,
brief
but, but I
of.
would say
So,
the government has really the commitment actually to get the policy approved, because once the policy it has been approved, then it sets the pace for
yeah,
the
other
agency
things
to be
to
formed. So
follow.
it's just like opening the door, and once the agency is formed, our doors will be open for people to come in. The space economy currently, as we speak, it's getting to
Booming,
almost
billions
400
of, yeah.
billions. Yeah. So once you have such a setup, then our country is also open to for investors, people who want to invest into the space and stuff.
Okay, so now let's come to the day-to-day challenges that has to do with astronomy and space science. We'll take out human resource,
Okay.
we'll take out policy issues. Really, on the ground, what are the challenges? Do we have the requisite equipment and all those things to push?
Okay. So I would say currently what we have now, it's in terms of equipment. When you talk about astronomy, it's having the tools to observe. So when you have like the Race Radio Telescope and you have your receivers, that means that you can observe some parts of the frequencies. So currently we observe in two bands. Yeah,
Okay.
so we observe in from 5 to 6 gigahertz. That's the bands that we observe in. So we are in a way limited in the frequency that we do our observations. But as I told you, we have not really started the real science phase because it's a whole project with the South Africans. So once the scientific or the science phase begins, after this installation of the laser, then we're going to do the real science at the observatory.
Okay.
But when it comes to astronomy, it's difficult to. It's been difficult to convince, I would say, policymakers to look at like astronomy as the forefront or cutting edge area that as a country we need to let our youth take roles in such an area. So it's been funding has been a bit of a challenge. I think most of it has been coming from our
Donors,
donors,
partners.
especially currently we're working with um, Santa Cruz in terms of data observation,
Okay.
yeah, and the University of California.
California,
So,
Santa
yeah,
Cruz.
Santa Cruz. So most of it has been from donor funds. Yeah, that is it. But as we begin the real science phase, we will have real evidence. We will have real results to show to them that this is what we're doing, and we believe, just like we are getting them convinced in the remote sensing, definitely we're going to get them convinced in astronomy.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, what's the implications are for us as a country, yeah, in this 21st century, for us to be left out in terms of astronomy like this? What's some of the implications for us? Because if we are not a fully fledged agency that operates up to the minimum or maximum level to be able to get accurate data that informs our decision and all that, what implications are there for us as a country?
I'll say we are losing out in the broader perspective, but the the hope that we have is at least we began.
Yeah.
And the observatory we have here is the largest so far, probably second largest we have in Africa.
Okay.
So in terms of our colleagues, at least we are
What are you like?
we are up there.
Colleagues?
Yes. So but we are getting there. And like I told you, the laser is being installed. And once we start the VLBI, then you come again and probably you have some demonstrations for you to see. But I look at it more in terms of the STEM education. So if we had started probably earlier, then because mostly um, what kids see, like what the youth, what they see. So when they visit the observatory and they see such equipment, monitoring, they have observations themselves, then actually builds their confidence and their desire to be astronomers. But not so many people who start they want to be astronomers become astronomers, but they go through the STEM education that requires them. And once you have those basic training, you can fit anywhere. Because what you learn from there, you can apply it in so many ways. Because look at data science.
Yeah.
Data science, I would say they are mostly spin-offs from astronomy because the amount of data that we generate is a lot. And if we can clean those data and make real sense out of it, then the ones that we have here is quite a bit small for anybody to do. So I wouldn't see it as much of a challenge, but we will get there. If we hadn't started and we hadn't even put any initiative like accepting of the policy, then I would say we will be set aback. But currently, I think the road is open, but it's a bit rough. But we will get there.
Okay, so currently the road is open but a bit rough, and gradually Ghana will also
Yeah.
get there in terms of astronomy and space science. You're still watching Science Chronicles live on Science Journalism Ghana, and the conversation with Dr. Joseph Tandoh. Doc, I want you to wrap up for me. So, what are your thoughts? What are your concluding words so that we can
Okay.
wrap up on the program?
So what I would say is the Ghana space policy has been approved by cabinet.
It seems that
And
it seems you are so enthused with
yes,
it.
and no, it's and in as part of implementing it, the Ghana Space Agency is to be formed,
Okay.
and GSSTI is to be transformed into the agency. And the mandate is to coordinate all space-related activities in the country. And that is where I'm happy about, because as a country, let's say we have land and natural resource management issues. So imagine we have every institute in Ghana, most of them, because most of them are using this technology. We coming together, setting up one objective, leveraging on our resources, our limited resources. I bring mine, you bring yours, our expertise to address a particular issue. In terms of disaster, flooding, you look at that area, which areas are prone, what are the measures, you get it. So that is and that is the beauty of the policy. It's supposed to have a center that coordinates all these activities. So we are all channeling our efforts to address one specific issue. So that's why I keep on saying the policy that has been approved is like the
It's
hope
a major breakthrough.
is a major breakthrough, which if the implementation starts, then you see major solutions to our problems. In agriculture, currently we are doing maize mapping in the northern region,
Okay.
where we are doing classification of all maize farms there. So we are doing ground truthing and using satellite images, so that at least if the Ministry of Food and Agriculture wants to know the quantity of maize we planted at the north, we can just sit at this control office and calculate the area that this hectares of maize we have. Then you can inform food security.
Okay.
So that's why I said the launch of the policy, it's bringing up a force that we all leverage on. Like ANU, they've launched their satellites. They have the expertise. So if you want to do, Ghana wants to build a second satellite, we go to them, we all bring our strength, telecommunication university, we come together. So it's about leveraging on what we have now to achieve what we want to become.
Okay, so it's about leveraging on available resources to achieve the developmental goal. This is part one of our conversation. We are delving into part two by way of wrapping up. So we want to find out if there's an open way for private sector participation in terms of what you are doing, astronomy and space science, if they are individual or private organizations that are also coming up in those fields. What sort of partnership are you looking for them, so you'll be able to echo this to a higher level?
Okay, so in the actually the draft of the policy was drafted not only with government institutions but with private agencies and private institutions. And actually, when you look at the application of remote sensing in agriculture, private individuals who are interested. So especially looking at the developing apps for the crop mapping and all those stuff. And also when you look at the building of spaceports or launching space shuttles or space centers in the country, the private sector plays a critical role because I'll say they have the money. So people can come because we have we are going to provide them with the framework, so the regulatory framework. Then so just like we are the I would say
giving them the enabling
or the
environment.
receptionist, so we provide them with an enabling environment. So when you want to come and set up maybe a spaceport, or you want to come and build your satellite, or you want to set up a ground station where we can receive satellite images, process and distribute. These are the regulations, the licensing agreements, and we provide you with the human resource that you need to run those ones. So we can't do it alone. Space has never been done by one government institution. You need the collective.
But so far, do you have any of such private sector people who are on board?
Currently, as I said, currently we don't, as I speak, we don't have
Okay.
yet, but we've had proposals. We've had people come here, but because currently the agency is not formed, so we don't have the regulatory framework governing. If somebody wants to come and establish this, these are the rules that you need to go through. That is why. But once that one is done, which is in the process, we've started. You know, you need to ratify certain laws and all those stuff. So that process has begun. So once we're done with that one and agency is formed, then they will
all come on board. I want to briefly touch on the formation of manufacturing of that's the right word. Manufacturing of these equipment from using our local resources. Do you see us using our local resources? We have a lot of issues when it comes to controlling our waste management and all that. Do you see us utilizing those avenues into those things? Because the white does those things very well. They form whatever gadgets they want to form right from the environments they lived in. Do we see any correlation between how we're going to manage our solid waste in terms of using them to or applying them in the field of forming or manufacturing any of the astronomy gadgets and all that?
Okay, I get it. So I'll say for the telescope, there's another area that that's what we do with the kids, building of paper telescopes.
Yes.
Or building of these telescopes from
scraps. Let me put it that way.
Things that we did. So actually we started, but we need because it's cheaper, and the students also can easily do it. So mostly in our astronomy clubs, in our visits, we build most of them, put the lenses there for them. So if there's a partnership, we can look in that so that we do it in large scales, where maybe every school will have at least one. Then it can also facilitate the promotion of or awareness creation in terms of astronomy in Ghana. So it's possible.
All right. So we finally bring a closure to our conversation with the Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute. I have been here with Dr. Joseph Tandoh, and he has been the one who dealt with our topic for today. We're so grateful, and stick and stay with us. We'll catch you next time on Science Journalism Ghana, right here on Science Chronicles. I am Jessica Ahedo. Have a nice one.